Hey everyone, in this video I'm just going to be going over some very basic editing tips you can do completely for free within Davinci Resolve. Spice up your very boring Twitch clips from something that just like this into something with subtitles, zooms, and some extra sound effects, and maybe even images if you want. And it'll only take 30 minutes at absolute max to do, and it's super easy and quick. This video is aimed for smaller streamers and VTubers who just wanna take some of their Twitch clips and put them up on YouTube, but make them a little bit more personalized, but have no idea how to do it. This is very 101 friendly. Enjoy the tips. When you're starting out editing, I highly recommend DaVinci Resolve. 90% of the features are free, and that is 99% of the things you want to use as someone who's just starting. The other 10% that you have to pay for is very much more advanced. And if it's something that you end up being a bit more passionate about, you can end up paying the upgrade fee, and it's a one-time payment, and that's it. You never have to think about it again. So all your skills are transferable. You can create a whole channel and never pay for DaVinci Resolve, and no one would be any the wiser. And when you're inside of DaVinci Resolve, you want to make sure that you clicked into this page, the edit tab down here. This is where we're going to be doing all of our work. Just make sure you clicked on edit. So if your page looks something like this, or like this, or like this, just make sure you click edit and it'll take you to the right place. Obviously, the first thing we want to do is bring in our footage. So bring in your clip. Mine is a local recorded clip, but if you bring in Twitch clip, just fine. So if you bring in a Twitch clip, it should look a bit more like this. And the blue track here is your video track, and the green track here is your audio that goes with it. First, biggest tip, and this is the most important thing about putting something up onto YouTube, even if it's just a small clip, it's this right here, the blade tool. And you can click it to activate it, or by default I think it's bound to B. For me, I've remapped it. If you just press this tool or B on your keyboard, this is what allows you to cut out sections of your video. So we can cut out this beginning because this is just me leading into the story I'm about to tell. So we're going to start at the story. The other day, I was enjoying some adult content late at night, right? Very like this. You'll probably notice this throughout the video. I stutter a lot. I'm doing it right now. For the sake of the clip, I'm cutting out a few of those stutters. I keep some of them in just for personality stuff, but the most important tool you can use is the blade tool. And this is because you can cut out all of the dead air. See, there's lots of dead air between sentences, like over here too. And also the important thing to cut out is anytime you repeat information, I highly recommend getting rid of it because it's something you've already said. Only keeping the things that are kind of relevant to the clip, the joke or the punchline, especially for shorter clips, which are aim to be like 30 seconds to a minute long. Just only keeping the things that are like kind of relevant to like the point of the clip. So I'm just going to quickly go through and cut out all of the dead air. Okay, there we go. I've cut that down. That was a 2-minute clip, and I've cut it down to just about 40 seconds. Cut it down to just the essential part. That's my number one tip I give to everyone. Master the blade tool. Master the art of like keeping in the good stuff. We're going to talk about doing some very basic zooms. These won't be animated. These will just be close-ups or zooming in on certain parts of the screen. This is super easy to do in DaVinci Resolve. So this is part here in this clip where I say this.
I see Asmongold's face.
So this is like a very sudden moment. I'll probably accompany this with a sound effect. I'm going to zoom in on my face as I'm talking about Asmongold's face. And the easiest way to do a zoom in DaVinci Resolve is you want to come to right here, this little triangle thing. You can click down on this arrow and make sure you click on transform. And all of a sudden around here, you see the white box where you'll be able to move and pull on things. So if we grab one of the corners, we can pull. If at any point, you can just use the scroll wheel to zoom in and out here if you get too big. And you can also drag in any of these panels to resize them if you need to. And then we can just hold it, click and hold, and get me a bit more centered. And it's really that easy. And if you want to fine tune it even more, you can come up to this area up here, which is called the inspector panel, which might be off by default. But so if it's off, it will look a bit more like this. But if you just come to the top right and click it, you just see all these properties. And if you see me drag on these, you can see the values move up and down. and the image moves to. Same with position. Now we're going to go over importing extra media, whether this be pictures, extra videos, or importing sound effects or music. It's all the same and it's really easy. On my zoom in, I'm going to add in a sound effect. So all you need to do is get your sound effect open in whatever in your file browser, and just drag it in just like this. Sometimes they might come with a bit of dead space in the front of it. So the best thing to do again is just come back to the blade tool and cut off that dead space, and just click on it and press delete. That's it. So now if we play,
See Asmongold's face.
okay, that's really loud. It's overpowering my voice. Two ways that you can lower the volume. If we get to the point where my cursor changes to these two little arrows, that is basically me grabbing onto the volume. It's like a line on the thing, and we can drag it down. So for sound effects and things that underlay my voice, I'm going to try something around 22.
See Asmongold's face.
And that actually sounds pretty good. You can also do it again up in the inspector if you want to fine tune it even more. And you can also again type in numbers manually here. So if we just wanted it around minus 22, we can just type it in. And we can do the same for adding in an image. So if we just bring in
Asmongold's face.
just remember, audio stuff is going to go on the bottom half here in the audio tracks, which are the green tracks. And then any visual elements, videos or images, place them on the top tracks. So I've just gone through, I added a couple more sound effects, one here and one here. And then I added a couple of extra zooms in. Again, just using everything that I've shown so far. And the last thing we're going to go over is adding in subtitles. And I could do a whole video centered around some slightly more advanced things to do with subtitles. So if you're interested in that, let me know and we can expand on it a little bit more. This is just like basic setup for some very easy and decent and very nice looking subtitles. So in order to do subtitles, we're going to come up to the top left and press on the effects button here next to the media pool. Come down to where it says titles, and then you'll see a button here called text plus. Just make sure it's text plus and not regular text. Text plus gives us a couple of extra options just to make our text look a little bit different and more unique. So once you find it, just click and drag it down above the timeline, and you should see it appear in this beige color, and open it up. And if we zoom out again, you can see we got the word custom title just written over the screen. You can see over on the right hand side here, in the side of the inspector, we have all our options for being able to change the text. So before we start typing this out, I like to use this font called League Spartan. As you can see here, this font is relatively thick, pretty basic and very clean. Those are the things I would recommend if you're picking like a custom font for subtitles specifically, something that's very easily readable and pretty and on the thicker side, just so it stands out a little bit against and especially if you're playing a lot of games where the background's very noisy and there's a lot of things going on. Having something thick that just stands out against it I recommend a lot. The one that's on by default is pretty good if you just up the size a little bit. I think this one's pretty okay to start with, but I like League Spartan. This is just a free Google font too, so feel free to use it too. So if we wanted to change the color of the text, we can just do that here, yellow to red, or you can change it here. Or if you want to make it fit your theme a little bit, you can click plus some color, and maybe for me I choose my hair color because that's a unique color for my model. But again, this kind of blends this. I prefer having the white text with a colored outline and then changing the color of the outline for if different people are speaking. That's just how I prefer to do it, but I know some people like doing the text color. So in order to change the outline, we're going to come over to the shading tab over here. So it's going to text, and we're going to come across to shading. We want to come over to number 2 here and see where it says red outline. If I click enable on this, you can see it's given it a very faint red outline. And this is just like a default preset, and we can change this really easily. So if we come down to the text color here, to the color here, we can change the color of our outline. Currently it's set to red. So let's just change it to black. Do this, and you can see we've got a bit of a black outline on there. It's very thin, but we can change that again. The inspector and slide up this thickness to more like a decent amount. This is beginning to stand out a lot more, especially if it was over my t-shirt here, the text would bleed in. And there's gonna be one more thing we do, and that's just come back over to our numbers, click 3, and you can see this just says black shadow. And we're just gonna click enable. That's going to add a little bit of a shadow to help it stand out that little bit extra against the background. There's one thing wrong with it still. It's just in the middle of the screen. We want to move the subtitles down just a little bit. And again, we can do that 2 ways. We can come down to our little box down here in the bottom, in the left side of the viewer. Drag it down if we wanted to. Something like this. The problem with that is you can accidentally veer off left and right, and it might not be dead center. So if we come up to our inspector again, but this time click from titles to settings, and we get the basic transform settings again. So we're going to come to the Y and just drag it down so that will only move the up and down axis without worrying about left and right, and get it into a more middling position. This is about where you want it. My model's just off center, so ignore that. So now comes the fun part and my favorite part about doing subtitles, which is writing them. Again, to write the subtitles, we're going to come back into the inspector, click title, and make sure we're clicked on the text tab within the title tab here. And this box here is just where we're going to type in our subtitles. So what do I actually say here? The other day. The other day. Now we've got this set up, and we don't want to have to drag this down, change the font, reposition it, make sure it's all right again. That would take way too long. So what you want to do on keyboard is hold down the Alt key and click and drag up on the font, on the text, and that just duplicates it. So again, and then you can and that will just duplicate exactly what you had before. It copies the text too, but you can retype the text. So if we do this, drag up, and then we can just move it to be in line here. I was enjoying some. So what I'm going to do is just quickly go through and subtitle the rest of this, and then we can come back and watch all of our final results come together. Okay, I've gone through and subtitled everything, so let's watch it back. The other day, I was enjoying some adult content late at night, right? I saw something strange in the corner. No, wait, I recognize that on a TV screen. There was like a familiar face on the TV screen. I was like, what? They had YouTube on the TV, so it's like the recommended tab on YouTube. In the background of this adult video. Okay, this is a bit crazy. In the background of this video I'm watching, I see Asmongold's face in a reaction thumbnail. I couldn't watch it anymore. I'm sorry, Asmon, but I had to turn it off after I noticed. It was a little bit traumatizing. In order to actually export this video, we want to come to the bottom again, where we clicked on edit before, and come all the way to deliver. This is where we're going to send out the final video, and it should look something a little bit like this. If you stream on Twitch because of bitrate things, you can probably just get away with exporting with the YouTube settings. Just click on YouTube and click browse and just choose a place to store it, and keep these all the same here. And then at the bottom, just click add to render queue, and then just click on the render all button, and it's just going to go through and render out the video. And that's it. That's all you have to do. And now you've got a video, and you can just throw that up onto YouTube.